I was sitting next to him. He was hysterically crying. Comforting a friend required big bucks. He said that he would be losing his home. I happen to keep cash in my safe. Now, can the judge make her feel better? You believe that you owe her some money? I don't think I owe her that this time. No, I have gone to the police department over 5 times. I'm a little confused, a little nervous. I'll let you sit down. Sir, get unconfused and get unnervous. Judge Judy, you are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Kimberly Sullivan is suing her former friend, James Spaulding, for a series of unpaid loans. Order. All rise. Yes. Case number 118 on the calendar. No matter of Sullivan versus Spaulding. Thank you. You're welcome. Judge, parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat. Miss Sullivan, I've read your complaint. According to that complaint, the defendant owes you for a loan that you made to him. A loan in the amount of $3. $600. That's correct. And you and the defendant were friends. You had met through a mutual friend. According to you, he came to you at some point with a tragic story and his need for money. Yes, you want to tell me when that was? September 24th, 2015? How long had you known him? About a year plus a few months. Did he come to your house or did he call you on the phone? He had called me. We had met and Where did you meet? We met at his house. This is untrue. Leona, I don't want to hear you. There's no issue with regard to whether she gave you the money. You acknowledge she gave you the $3. Alexander, no. Oh, yes, you did in your answer. You absolutely did. There's no question that you acknowledge that she gave you $3. Alexander, you have a different story about the $3. $600, but there's no issue that she gave you the money. Okay. The first moment that Jay explained to me was at his home. I was sitting on his couch next to him. He was hysterically crying. He said that his home was going to be foreclosed on, that he would be losing his home. I knew that, in fact, there was a 6-year-old, I believe it's a nephew, that is living with them, that him and his wife take care of a child. I felt extremely bad and was very worried and concerned about the situation and agreed to lend him the money. However, he agreed to get it back to me in a very timely fashion. He showed me the business card. Okay, did you give him a check? I gave him 2 by $500 cash. I gave him a check for $825 on September 24th. That's an odd figure. You want to explain why? He had been in serious money trouble. He said, I believe he has a car payment roughly of $400 a month. I'm not positive, but he needed a check to deposit. He had no money in his bank. He was fearful that he couldn't cash a check that large. I happened to keep cash in my safe because of emergencies. I went to Hurricane Katrina, realized cash is king. Okay, do you have a copy of that check? I do. I'd like to see it. Your Honor, may I also tell you some other evidence that I have? About the money, the cash itself. Yes, because of the large amount of cash, I said that I would need some kind of collateral. I had him sign over his pickup truck to me. I'd like to see that. I did not. I just put a nominal fee of $1, $500 on it because it's worth so much more that if I was going to get the truck, I would make out better in the deal. I don't know. Well, anyway, here's the checks, and here's his signature. He signed it gladly when the cash was in his face. Here you go. Any other proof of the money that you want to show me? I just have a very messy checkbook register, and I see the $850. Well, it's just that I write down notes. I put 500 cash to Jay. I had avoided a check at one point because no, not necessary. And also, just so you are aware, I gave him quite a bit of time to come up with the money. Just a second. And just a second. I have a question. I know you have a drill. I have a question. Did he ever repay any part of that money? A total of $120. When did he pay the $120? When I was to pick up the pickup truck about 3 to 4 weeks ago. This is untrue. Your Honor, when you threatened to go and pick up his pickup truck, I have retained the attorney in Manchester, New Hampshire. Okay. So then he gave you one payment of $120. Yes. Now, do you have any proof of that payment of $120? You do not. He has it, but I don't. Was there anyone present when he gave you that $120 4 weeks ago? No, there was not. How was it communicated to him that you were going to pick up his truck? Verbally by me and from the Candia Police Department. I have gone to the police department over 5 times. I do have statements from the chief, and is that a police report? Yes, it's a police report. I'd like to see it. There's a couple of reports from the chief because the first time, don't tell me because, oh, no, I'm just saying the date. The original was in November. Just a second. Okay, there you go. Well, this is an email. Well, if you look behind it, Could you return that to her? Please. Okay. Now I have two different stories that you told the police. So now I'm going to go to Mr. Spaulding. It is clear, Mr. Spaulding, that the plaintiff gave you money. Yes, Your Honor. It is also clear to me, based upon the police report, which includes statements from you, that you believe that you owe her some money. I don't think I owe her that this time. No. Well, that's incorrect, based upon what you told the police. I never went to see the police at all. I never was down there. You told the police chief, and you called him who? You called him. He called me. Oh, well, great. Perfect. See? Always step on your own tie. Now, you had a conversation with him, and you assured him that you were going to start to pay her $100 a month. Now, how much did you pay her? Well, on so many occasions. Well is not an answer. I have a date on this. How much did you pay her? On all right here. I've tried to pay her numerous times. I've had her phone hang up on me on occasions. What you're not hearing is the full truth. I did work for this lady. She absolutely said that to the police the first time. But she didn't tell me. She said she fronted you some money. And she fronted you some money to do work for her because you were complaining that you were going to lose your house. That is untrue. Okay, I never went to her and complained that I was going to lose my house. Listen to me, sir. How old are you? 59 years old. I'm older. I have plenty of places where I have workmen work for me. Yes, people that I know and trust who have companies, not people who are going to carry wood from the back to the front of the house like you alleged you did. I do more than that. Pay attention. They never get paid up front. They get paid when the job is done. Now, they may get a certain amount of money if it's a huge job. If they're redoing a kitchen, if they're moving my house back 4 feet, they may get a startup money and then build during the next 30 days. But they don't get the money up front. So there had to be a reason that she gave you this money up front. She tells me a perfectly cogent reason. Now, I'm waiting for yours. Why she gave you the money up front? It was a down payment of $800. I have it right here on one of her receipts. It was a down payment of what? $800 for what? For work to be done at home. Just a second. I'm asking you a question. And I did some work. No, just a second. I'm asking you a question. Go ahead. Your Honor, I'm sorry. I never knew anybody. It was a down payment who was retaining somebody's services to do menial work, paying them up front for that work unless there was a reason. She gave me a cogent reason. I'm waiting for your reason. And if you tell me she paid me up front again because I was going to do some work for her, I'm telling you now, I don't believe that. Judge Judy continues in a moment. I want to know who the last person was that you worked for and how much you made. I can't tell you that right now. I'm a little confused. I'm a little nervous. I'll let you sit down so you get unconfused and get unnervous. And later today, this is baloney because there was no weekly room rental. There was a monthly rent of $830. You were playing around. Mr. Hayes. Don't play around because, sometimes you play around and you can get burnt. Real cases. Real people. Judge Judy. Kimberly Sullivan says her former friend, James Spaulding, owes for unpaid loans. Go ahead. Okay. Well, it was a down payment. It was a down payment. Yes, and I did work there at her home. Several different jobs. Okay. Shh. Just a second. Now, you're 59 years old. And what do you do for a living? Handyman? Who do you work for? Just myself. How do you work for a living? Have you always worked just for yourself? No. When was the last time you had a full-time job? 2000s. Early 2000s. Okay. Do you receive any sort of disability? No. Yes. Do you receive any sort of disability? That's either yes or no. No. Well, I want to know who the last person was that you worked for and how much you made. I can't tell you that right now. I'm a little confused. I'm a little nervous. And I'll let you sit down so you get unconfused and get unnervous. But, I just want to clarify something with you. Your Honor, no. I want an answer to my question. And you can sit down until you figure out who the last person you worked for. I can't tell you any part about my side of my defense then. I asked you a question. I said you make a living as a handyman. Various people. I don't have names and addresses. Ma'am, in front of me, not various people. I don't want. I'm just telling you. Various names. I said I want the last person. I don't really recall the last person. Within the last month, yeah, there was work before her. I just can't think of who they were right now. I didn't bring this evidence with me. Didn't think I'd be happy to have this. Your Honor, that's all. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $3. $600. We're done. Thank you. I'm very pleased with her decision. I feel that this was not treated in my fairness at all. There's no reason someone would sign their car over for nothing. I gave that to her as something with my name on it and told her that this truck had a lien on it, that it couldn't be taken. I'm not going to lend any money to anybody. She sat in there. She lied right through her teeth. And now, the next case. All parties in the matter of Proc v. Hayes step forward. Liza Proc is suing her former landlord, Gregory Hayes, for the return of rent, hotel costs, lost wages, and stolen property. Mrs. Proc, you rented a room in the defendant's condo. Was it a condo? It's a home. House. Home. Yes. When did you rent the room? September 19th, 2015? How long did you stay with him? I didn't get to be there for the full month, and it was intended to be a month-to-month tenancy. I'm not following. How long did you stay there? Less than 1 month. And what was the rent? $830 per month. What day did you move in? On the 19th. Yes. And what day did you move out? My belongings were moved on the evening of October 16th. Okay. And I want you to tell me, Mr. Hayes, she moved out in less than a month. Do you want to tell me why? Well, I put an ad in Craigslist, and I went out of town for a few days. And then when I came back the first night, she proceeded to have this white noise to sleep with. Listen to me. I just want you to tell me why she moved out. Did she move out voluntarily? Or did you put her out? I basically evicted her from a weekly rental. You evicted her. Yeah. Okay. Now, she said the rental was $830 a month. Yes. How much money did she give you in September on the 19th when she moved in? She gave me $830, and $600 was a security deposit, approximately, and $200. Show me that in writing, where $600 was security deposit. Well, I just have a receipt. I'd like to see it. There was no deposit. I'd like to see it. A signed receipt by her saying that $600 of the $830 was security deposit. It's not designated. I was in a hurry when I wrote this. But here's the receipt. Oh, I'd love to see it. That doesn't exist. Shh, shh. That's what it's worth. Mr. Hayes, I don't have this job because I'm foolish. Judge Judy continues in a moment. Is that your expertise in real estate law? Yes. Surprised that you... Mr. Hayes. Not surprised that you tried to do it, but surprised that a reasonably intelligent man would put himself in this position in front of 10 million people. Real cases. Real people. Judge Judy. Liza Proc says her former landlord, Gregory Hayes, owes for the return of rent, hotel costs, lost wages, and stolen property. Now, you put her out before the end of the month because she was an annoying tenant. That's what I read in your answer. You didn't like the noise that she played at night in order for her to sleep. She plays a white noise, but it was a white noise that, according to you, sounded as if, well, you didn't use those words. Like you were in the middle of 42nd Street. Nobody else could sleep in the house from her white noise. Lots of other things that were annoying. And you put her out. Absolutely. Your Honor, you put her out. You have to pay her rent back. Do you understand? Well, I understand. That's just a start because you can't unilaterally. You take in a tenant, and there are certain procedures that you have to go through. If you've taken her rent for the month, which you did, then you have to give her more than 2 days' notice that she has to leave. I gave her 2 weeks. Did you give her 2 weeks? Yes. Show me that you wanted her out at the end of the month. This was served to her by my son, Trevor. And this is a notice that in 2 weeks she must move out because I tried to communicate with her. I'd like to see it. She was unwilling. That doesn't exist either. And I did use the civil procedure. Well, first of all, this is baloney. Because giving you notice because your weekly room rental, there was no weekly room rental. There was a monthly rent of $830. You were playing around. Mr. Hayes, don't play around because, you know, sometimes you play around and you can get burnt. The rental agreement was based on a weekly rental of $200. That, Mr. Hayes, is baloney. Now, your loud noise is beyond limits, and you have threatened some of my guests. That may be, but the weekly rental baloney is just that. It's baloney, and you had no right to put her out. She's entitled to minimally her $830 back. Now, when he put you out prior to the termination of the 1 month, giving you no legitimate notice. And I'm very rarely sympathetic in this kind of situation. But I am sympathetic with you because if he's not getting along, if he tried to do it legitimately, he would have been okay. But instead, he went into this convoluted argument that the $830 was not monthly rent, but it was $2 SNLs a week. Now, if you were going to make up this ridiculous document, at least you should have your figures right, because a weekly rent based upon 4, 3 weeks in a month is 193. Lortua, not 200 Sven. You got it. In real estate law, you use 30 days. Really? Yeah. Well, what if there were 31 days in a month? Sir, you still use 30 days. Is that your expertise in real estate law? I have a license in real estate. Is that your expertise in real estate law? Yes. Is it? Yes. Your Honor, $193. $193. That's weekly rent divided by 4. 3 weeks, which there are on average a month. That's why your whole story is baloney. Surprised at you. Mr. Hayes, not surprised that you tried to do it, but surprised that a reasonably intelligent man would put himself in this position in front of 10 million people. Okay, so you were put out. Where did you go when you were put out? I had no place to go. Where did you go? I initially went to a friend's. Okay, and how long did you stay with a friend? For the one night. And then I found motels to stay in. I had no friends or other options. For how long? I became homeless due to the situation, and until February. Many months of not knowing where I was staying, not knowing where I was going. Where did you live before you lived with Mr. Hayes? I was occupying a room in another place in North County, San Diego. Where were you before you moved into Mr. Hayes' room? I was living in Vista, California. How long were you there, and what address? I was there approximately a year and a half. Why did you leave there? Interested in moving into Encinitas. What kind of work do you do? Miss, I work as a consultant. Events, promotions. It's projects and gigs. Very sporadic. How do you support yourself? I work projects and gigs. So I look on the internet. Get hired by different companies to work and manage and execute their events. And where are you living now? I'm staying with family in another part of the county. Since when? Since February? What items were taken? Honestly, I'm not sure what they may have taken because they dismantled my room behind my back. So I just put everything safely into a storage unit. So you don't know what items were taken. Right. You don't know. I hope minimally nothing. But I'm still honestly not sure because what was my bedroom became a storage unit, and I can show you that photo in Carlsbad. So he moved out behind my back. I'm issuing a judgment for $2, $330, and I'm basing it on this $830. She's getting her rent back for the month that she did not in fact live there, but she paid you for, and $1, $500 for the illegal eviction. We're done here. Thank you. Judge Judy continues in a moment. Liza Proctor is a scam artist, and it's all over the internet. There's fictitious information. I was really scared for myself in my own home with this person living there. The son and the dad live in the home, and it was a 2-on-1 situation. I was very scared. She stayed for a month, and she paid for a month. Bottom line. The bottom line is I have been made homeless, and I'm very skeptical of living with anyone ever again.